When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
And action!
Hello and welcome to a very special takeover edition of the Filmmakers Podcast. I am Liza van der Smissen.
And I'm Nicole Lieberman, and we're both the co-founders of the Female Film Club. Female Film Club is an international ecosystem, and what we do is we're dedicated to championing, connecting, and elevating female filmmakers all across the industry.
Now, Giles Alderson and the usual gang have very kindly handed us the keys to the studio today, and we have put together an absolute powerhouse of an episode for you. Because today we are diving deep into the three crucial pillars of getting your film made and seen: the casting, the press, and some bits of financing. And we have two phenomenal industry experts joining us to break it all down for you.
Oh my God, they're amazing. So first of all, we're talking to the brilliant casting director, Olissa Rogers, who we met in Cannes very recently. Her incredible work includes massive hits like Wednesday, so impressive, Ted Lasso, and she's going to be pulling back the curtain on exactly how to attach the right A-list emerging talent to your independent film. I think that's something that everyone is like, we need to know how.
It's like the chicken and the egg that people are just really trying to catch. Then we have Miriam Spritzer. Now, she's an esteemed international journalist and a board member of the Golden Globes Foundation. Miriam is giving us the ultimate inside scoop on how to get your film noticed by the media, how to navigate the press, and how to build a PR strategy that actually works, because it always seems like such a big mystery.
I know, and I just remember when we started, and
we had no clue.
There's so much wisdom in listening to Miriam and just taking much bigger step instead of so much trial and error. And also, we're so aware that like you might have all the knowledge and all the pearls of wisdom and all the hacks, but you still actually need the really practical element of making a film, and that is getting the money to actually make it. And that's why we are super excited to speak about what we have just launched in Cannes in May. And it is the FFC Global Short Film Fund. And it is powered by Krasimira Belev and First Draft and made possible by Imogen. So we're going to give you a whole lowdown about the fund towards the end of this podcast.
Right, let's get our first chat with casting director Olissa, where we will talk about how to get talent on an independent film, the do's and the don'ts with casting directors, and how to navigate the agents of the talents you'd like to attach to the film, because you need to get past them somehow.
Yes, it's going to be such a jam-packed masterclass full of so much. So we recommend, because we love doing that, like we have our tea in our hand now. Put the kettle on, grab a drink, and welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast and the Female Film Club Takeover. Hello. We're so excited with casting director Olissa Rogers. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's such a joy, and we thought it's so important to speak to a casting director because that is just something, it's one of these kind of gate-kept areas almost in the industry. And when we connected with you in Cannes quite recently, actually, it was an amazing experience, and we're so excited to just grow this and bring some of your amazing knowledge and insight and your journey to the listeners here.
I think you met Giles also in Cannes, didn't you?
Yes, briefly be connected. A very nice character.
Oh, we love Giles. We love Giles. Yeah.
And the podcast. Well, why don't we get started? I just have for I would just love to hear a little bit more because that was something that I was really curious of. You had such an exciting journey throughout, and you incredible career. You won an Emmy. You worked on so many exciting projects. Anyone just check Olissa's IMDb out, you'll be like, wow. So we'd love to hear how you got into casting and what really led you to where you are today.
I fell into it, so it wasn't a deliberate choice. But after graduating from high school, I missed all the deadlines to apply to become a musical theater actor. I was very clumsy. I was like, oops, oops, oops.
No way.
Yeah. And then my parents were like, Alyssa, you need to do something with your life until you can reapply. And I knew I didn't want to go to university. I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to be in the world of the creative industry. So I applied to a Munich company, a TV company in Munich. And I originally wanted to become a director, but they said they don't have any spots, so they will throw me into casting. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but okay, let's just find out. So I did an internship there for 9 months, and the quotes just went through the roof. And they're like, Alyssa, you got an eye for this. And I'm like, okay, great. That's good to know. Um, but then I did actually apply in time for the musical theater. I got in, I studied musical theater. Then when I was done, I think the TV company was stalking me because they called me a week later saying, are you free? We want you back. And I'm like, okay.
If you insist.
Did you say, have you been stalking me?
No, I did, but it was a weird coincidence. I mean, that timing was perfect. I said, I'll come back. And I went back into casting, but I was still doing like small amateur bits in my spare time. Sometimes I was on the TV series. The director was like, I want you in the show or this role. They canceled, the person canceled. Can you come and be on screen? I'm like, sure. So I had that kind of a little bit of freedom to also explore the side in front of the camera. However, I'm not doing it anymore, and I'm very happy for that. But coming back to the question, yes, so I worked my way up to become a casting director for a TV show. And then I went to Berlin Film Festival 2016, where I met Jeremy Zimmerman, who then became my first boss in London. We hung out. I didn't really know who he was or what he was doing. He just had the best invites and the greatest party, so I just tagged along. I was like, well, he can get me into everything. So we were just having a blast. And then I realized how big projects he cast. And I was like, that's incredible. And then I spoke to a friend and she said, Alyssa, you should just work for him. And I'm like, okay, what do I have to lose? I was like, you know what? There's always a backup. I can always go back to Germany. Let me call him and see if I can work for him. He said, yes. Quit my job on the Friday, moved to London over the weekend and started with him on the Monday. I was like taking a big leap of faith.
When was this? How many years ago was this?
2016.
Wow.
And I just want to stop you as well on that moment because I want everyone who's listening to just take a moment here. I took a leap of faith. I called him up. I didn't think twice. So what do I have to lose? I packed my stuff. I moved to London and I started this ride and this new journey. So if that's not inspiring, I don't know what is.
So everybody can do it. I'm not a nepo baby. My parents are in the industry. Nobody is. I had to literally start from zero with not much money. I wasn't paid very much. I'm not going to say how much, but it was not really. You couldn't. Really
I heard how much it was. It's not much.
The jobs on the side to survive, and started from zero, casting assistant again, being a casting director in Germany. So I had to work my way back up. And then I worked in several offices, being Carmel Cochran, then Theo Park, Amy Hubbard, Fiona Weir, up until 2022. And then I went out by myself, and since then I've been my own boss, basically.
We love it. And tell us a bit about the Emmy story as well, because I heard the story and I love that story, and that's very inspiring as well.
As in how? What? Okay.
As in serendipity with the story, the first series and then the second series, because that inspired me.
Okay. So, yes, I had an interview for the first season, which was Cleopatra originally. And I really wanted that job because I was like, oh my God, it's Jada Pinkett Smith. It's Netflix. This could be a turning point. I was really hopeful. Um, uh, yeah, I had the interview and I was just like, come on, universe, give me that job. Didn't happen. I let it go. I forgot about it. I was like, oh, whatever. And just working on a different project. But it was the same company. So it was Newtopia, who I was working with for a different show. So they put me on a different show. And then after I finished that show with them, they said, you know what? The second season of African Queens, the Jada Pinkett Smith one, is coming around. Do you want to do it? Because the original casting director is not can't do season 1 anymore. So I was like, yeah, let me do season 2. So I jumped onto it, which was Njinga. And then that was the one, though, that turned out to win the Emmys at the end of the day. It wasn't Cleopatra, it was Njinga. So there was that serendipity of, if I would have been on the first season, it probably wouldn't have turned out that way because Njinga was the one that ended up getting me the Emmy. So it was a blessing in disguise, and it was because I let it go and I didn't think about it anymore, and I made space for it to come around. Yeah. So yeah. Trusting that everything happens for a reason. You just gotta have trust that it's gonna work out.
And it's such a nice combination how you do it because you work really hard, right? Like it doesn't come falling from the sky. You get yourself in the right room, and on top of that, you are trusting and making space. We're really gonna dive into how to get, because I'm sure there's so many filmmakers listening or like, okay, but how am I gonna get my big name for my film, because then I'm gonna get the financing. It's a lot of the chicken and the egg. However, I want to rewind a little bit back to you at Berlin, meeting Zimmerman, because I think there's so many people going to film festivals and trying to meet people. You didn't even know really who he was or how he was. Can you explain a bit, like, how did you meet?
We were both invited to the same agency party that I didn't even want to go to. It happened to be on my path, and I'm like, okay, yeah. I was gonna go down this road. At the end, I was like, oh, you learn forwards. No, you live your life forward. You understand it backwards. And I was like, okay. But I was at the reception of this agency party. It was a small one. And he was at the bar talking to somebody else, and I did feel I was drawn to him. There was something about him where I was like, I feel like there's a familiarity about you. I've known you. We've known each other before, from a different life or whatever. But it just felt, you're drawn to certain people. And I had that with him, but I was very shy. And I was like, I'm not gonna go up and talk to anybody. I was not that person. I still am not that person. But I was like, you know what? He's standing right to the entrance of the toilets. Let me just walk past and let's hope he notices me in a way. So I walked past and then he grabbed my arm and said, hello, darling. And I was like, 1 second, I just need to go to the toilet and then I'll come back to you. And Jeremy just talks to everybody. He's a social butterfly. Everybody knows him. He's incredible at just talking to people and starting up a conversation. So he literally saw me and grabbed my arm. So I was like, okay, I have an in. And that's how we started talking. So, it was that universe conspiring for us to meet and me taking that leap of faith of pretending to need to go to the toilet. So I was downstairs in the toilet and thinking to myself, okay, give me 5 more minutes until I go back up.
I love that you were still saying to him, like, I still have to go though. Wait there. I'll be back.
Yeah. Because, I couldn't, I had to
That's how
play.
Nicole and I met actually at the film festival as well.
Did I say I needed to go to the toilet, Liza?
Yeah.
I'll see you around the corner when you ride your bicycle.
So that's when my acting hat came in place. It's like put that on. So
But
yeah.
a lot of it is about intentionality. A lot of things that you're saying, it's almost just like kind of, even though it might seem all at random, but there was kind of intentionality in the movements before, and even in calling him and saying, okay, let me see, there was that. Not like, again, it wasn't just, it's beyond almost leap of faith, like you kind of knew in a way the direction that you were heading to, and you were not scared and sitting there and overthinking it. You just kind of like went for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just trusting your guts and what feels right. And, it felt like I needed to talk to him and I couldn't explain it. It was just like, you need to speak to that person. Yeah.
Listening to your gut, so important.
Yeah, so that drives us a bit into, I'm just thinking about all the independent filmmakers that are listening on here and that are like, well, actually, like, I don't know. I'm also like, I have this limited budget and it's like, I'm not even sure like what the next steps are for me. And I really want to get a name onto my film because I know it'll make the difference. And what would you say to them, Olissa? Because obviously I also want to relate it to your story as well, because you did say like I had no money, I had this, and I went for it. But how do you think strategy-wise, and also not coming from a place of this over, I really need this, I'm so desperate for it. But what would a first like nice like practical small step be for an independent filmmaker with no budget, and let's just call it out, maybe no connections as well? They're working on a great new project and they know that like a name would really make it for them. It could take it from here, like instead of just going here, they'll go right here because of that name. What would you as a casting director suggest for them to do?
I think start off by finding connections, like putting that work in first. Even, going to film festivals, going to panels, going to events. There's so much out there nowadays. Listening to podcasts, gathering information, um, and just really exploring who could I know, who do I know, being bold, taking that leap of faith, introducing yourself to people, just having a chat. I think the more details one can have, the easier it is to sell a story. It's very important. The script is everything. Like if the story isn't great and the script is not great, you're not going to get anywhere. So the script has to be on point. And you only have one shot. If you want a name, you'll get it in front of them one time. And it will be on the bottom of the pile if you're not financed. It's like the finance ones are going to be right here, and then those ones on the bottom that have no financing and need a letter of intent, so an actor intending to attach themselves, that people can show to the financing and say, here, this actor signed our LOI, letter of intent. Can we have the money? But it's patience game with that, because if that's the case, you're going to wait months sometimes until it even gets to that actor, let alone the agent normally reads it first to give an idea, is this something the actor is looking at? So you have to have all your ducks in a row pretty much as much as you can, in terms of also speaking to sales agents, to production companies, having that having had that communication, I think, is essential first. Even opening up that communication, talking, sending out emails, it's all online, doing your research. Because then we know as a casting director, okay, I can say to the agent, they have sales agents interested or financing, but they need a name. So it's not completely zero. So at least there's something, which is a start. And I think it's a lot. You have to be patient at this. Because these people, if they want somebody big attached, they have other scripts on the table. It's not easy.
There's a lot of fear with like the getting past that agent, because I think a lot of people have a bit of fear for these agents. They're like gatekeeping. And do you have any idea, I don't know, in terms of formatting or do's or don'ts, how to definitely make sure that an agent is not going to send it, and how to enhance your chance that an agent is going to forward your script to their client?
Best is to have a casting director attached. Do that. But obviously, we also need money to get paid to do it because that's what we do. We build that whole network of years. I spent 10 years establishing relationships with these agents. So our emails are gold, so to speak. You're paying us to send these emails because they trust us. I'm aware that not everybody has that money, but we do need to get paid for our work, um, but there's that where filmmakers just need to then start finding some kind of development money, even if it's a small appreciation, like a small fee. It's not going to be massive because we know that getting finance is not easy. But even like showing us, look, we can pay you this, and then it's up to the casting director to see if this is something they can do. Is this the script that they really believe in? Like, you have to find the people that really believe in your project. I think that's the main thing because that's easier than to really get everybody on board and passionate and driven. And if you don't have casting attached, I think it's important to definitely pick up the phone and not just throw out a cold email. I think it's just have established, and I know people nowadays are afraid of phone calls. It's all on, WhatsApp or it's not gonna be TikTok, thank goodness, but it's just like just an old school phone call. Dial the number and say hi, introduce yourself. There might be agents that are less, that are a bit apprehensive, but it's just try, somebody will pick up the phone and talk to you. The most of the people in the agency world are very nice, very open, very kind. And even for that, you can always ask casting directors. You can ask, who can I talk to in this office? That does weird. I won't charge people for advice to ask me, like, what do you know about this agent stuff? I'm happy to help. It's just, so that's what I would tell is definitely give them a call and not just out of the blue. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense, especially when you say you will stand out from the crowd because you call, because most people don't call anymore. We're like, how do I stand out with an email? Well, maybe you shouldn't email, maybe you should just call instead. And if you have the chicken and the egg, if you have development money, hire a casting director, because that casting director might open some doors to some name, and that will unlock maybe the next round of financing.
I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. So knowing how the actors work and also like how they're agents as well, in a sense. So if you are an independent filmmaker, and let's just leave the money on the side for now, but what would really help an actor or the agent like seriously consider a project? Like, what is the thing that makes their eyes go, yes, I want to be part of it. I know this is gonna fly, even if there's not a huge budget.
The script, the story. It's all about it all comes back to the story. Obviously, also, if there's a good bunch of teams, HODs attached that have done certain things. Sometimes it's even looking at the director's showreel. If he's done short films or proof of concept, seeing what their work is about. How does it look on screen? Is this something that I can identify with? I think that's quite helpful to have something to show, even if it's something small as a director, to show material. But again, at the end of the day, it comes all down to the script work and the story. And if that's something the actor wants to do in a way. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think we literally have, and we're so happy that you're involved as well, the short film fund from the Female Film Club globally as well going on, because we know how important a short film fund or a short film can be for making your feature film, for getting cast attached, for having something to show that is substantial, because it's tangible, of course.
But like I am working on a project right now, and they like the director's work, and he hasn't done much, but he's an incredible filmmaker. He has an eye for actors and for creating an atmosphere, and that alone already means a lot to an actor. If they really like the director's work and they know it's not that much money involved, or it's a letter of intent involved, and they really like the character, and it's something they haven't done yet, the chances are more likely that they want to do something new. I think it's always helpful to look at actors. What have they done in the past? Is this something that they might find challenging? Something that they're not being put into the same role over and over again, but something new for them to explore, looking at their work. I think also being familiar with the actors. Why do you think they're right for the part? Like, really, why is this actor in your mind? And not just, oh, they said no, so we're going on to the next one. You really have to be able to justify why do you think they're right and what they bring to the table or to the character. That will help as well in getting them interested, because they know, oh, they wrote this specifically with me in mind. For that short film, Friend of Dorothy, that got Oscar shortlisted. The director wrote it especially for Miriam Margolis. Oh God, the last surnames.
Sure.
It's fine. You gotta have a vision, and it has to be so clear. But it is about the story. At the end of the day, if the story is there and the passion is there, it's more likely to happen. That's why it's always good to also have script doctors that will help you look at the script, or even send it to people. What do you think? Where is there anything you would change? What can I do to just really get it top notch? Because again, you only have one shot for those bigger names to read it.
How is it with a casting director? If you want to work with a casting director, you want to get the right casting director on board, I assume you're also going to need to research them, speak with them. When would you say is the best time to start that conversation with a casting director, and what research should you do on a casting director before approaching them?
It's looking at what they've cast. If this is something that your script probably aligns with, like what have they done in the past, about their work. If you can find maybe online interviews with them to see who they are as a person, how they work. I think it doesn't need to be too much research. It's just about looking at what they've cast and their work and their choice of actors, I suppose. And then just emailing. I guess it doesn't really have to be a certain stage. I mean, the more information, the more developed it is, the better. But there's sometimes casting directors that just love a script, and they will, help it from the get-go, depending on their taste. But that also then is individually based from casting director to casting director. So it's just about making those emails and then jumping on a call and see who do you vibe with, who do you not vibe with, how do they work, what do they want, and then just testing the waters. And then you will find your tribe as you go along. I think it all falls into place sooner or later.
Absolutely. I love this. And I just want to dive a little bit even deeper. And I know Liza asked before the do's, but I just want to also dive a bit deeper into the don'ts as well with casting directors. And it could be actors with casting directors, and it could be films with casting directors. So it's really interesting because I have some friends that are casting directors, and I've been to events with them. and and there's just a certain energy that can form around casting directors sometimes, even in person. So what would you say is kind of something that you're like, I really would recommend for people not to do this with a casting director, and it's something that I don't like, either from filmmakers and can even be from actors as well?
I think not listening and tending to know everything and underestimating our work and expecting everything, I think, and also thinking, oh, we'll get a casting director attached and then we'll get a big name, because we can't predict if an actor will say yes or no. That's out of our control. We can help in opening that door, getting it in front of the agent and the actor, but at the end of the way, they have free will to say yes or no. We can't say they have to do this, where there's an expectation on us, oh, let's get a casting director involved, so we'll get this big actor. That's not a given. We can put it in front of them, but if they say yes or no, is out of our control. So I think just knowing what you'll get with us is, we'll do our best to get it in front. We'll do the work, but we cannot promise that it's going to happen. Some projects do fall apart because it's not the right timing, or it just doesn't work out all the time. And I think just also taking our advice and understanding that we do know what we're doing. because we've been doing this our whole life, you know? It's just trusting in us and not I think it's just being open and yeah, it's communication. Being open, communication, and not the need to know everything better, which I don't think most people don't do, but it's just like respect. Respect and communication are the musts, I'd say. And with actors, it's just knowing that I said, and I don't know if I said that to Nicole, but when I get like 10 to 15 emails a day from actors.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm glad I have the react emoji on my phone because now I don't necessarily have to write out a whole email because I really want to make sure that they are seen. But I feel like they underestimate the flux of emails we get from directors, producers, agents, that it does fall under the radar. So I started reacting with a heart or something so they know it's been acknowledged. But I think actors need to know we do see you and we need you. Without actors, I wouldn't have a job. But just don't think that we feel above you or something like that. No, we're all equal.
Love that.
Equals. And that they are seen, but they can't. That just don't put expectations that they didn't answer us back. It's just a lot of emails we get.
I guess that's so nice to hear, though, because there's so many people who do think they're scared of the casting director. They really look up to it and that there's this boundary. And I think, thank you so much for talking to us and be like, no, you've done some of the most recognizable, incredible films and you're a wonderful human being and you can just talk to you and you reply in hearts. And, I think it's wonderful. Like that's how Nicole and I communicate. So no, thank you so much. This is brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, good. But it's helpful.
It's so helpful because we always feel like there are, misconceptions and gatekeeping and your role, that's why we really wanted to speak to you because your role can sometimes be perceived as like how and what and like what's the first step and what if the door closes. So it is really good to just put also all that pressure off. Like we are all human. Everyone has a vested interest in creating something. And if you can help, then you will help. So that's note to everyone that is listening. I want to dive a bit deeper into something that we discussed when we first met, and this is a really interesting one. This goes a bit more into actors. But how important is an actor's mindset, both in getting cast and in sustaining a career? I know you're launching maybe something with further support around resilience, confidence, and inner voice. And can you tell us a little bit about why that's so important? And if you do want to speak about what you will be launching.
So it's interesting because yesterday I went. It's actually very, very, and it showed me how much it's needed in the industry. So a lot of actors have that insecurity. They're not good enough. They doubt their own abilities. They get scared or nervous in the room. Um, they compare themselves to other peers. It's just that kind of a lot of the mindset and their confidence that affects the way they perform in the room or as a person in the room. And I feel like that's that kind of switch that needs to happen because a lot of them have the talent. It's not the talent they lack. It's that belief in themselves and that they deserve to be in this room and that they deserve to do the role. Well, yeah, it is preparation. It's being prepared, doing the homework, but also believing that you deserve to be in this room. You're here for a reason, and we brought you in because we want you to have that role. So if you got to believe in yourself first, and then we will believe in it. So I started a life coach certification, and I think I want to try and help actors change that mindset, whether it's with the help of affirmations or going into like deeper themes, depending on how open they are, how much they want to reveal. But vulnerability is your tool. As an actor, you have to be vulnerable, and that's all inside of you. And yesterday I went to see a client with an agent, and he he said, I was so scared on stage. I suddenly remembered on stage, oh, my agent is there. What if he's going to drop me? Blah, 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 blah. And he was so brilliant. And I was like, no, 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 no. He gave him a little talk and he's like, Olissa, I need more of your energy. And I'm like, okay, universe, there we go. I can see it's literally right there. He needs to change the way he thinks about himself. Because it's right there. He's in this big show. I mean, that's there for a reason, but that somebody like that still questions his own worth was baffling to me. But that also showed me even more how much that is actually the problem of why actors don't get the roles, because it's up here and in here and not what they have to give. Long story short.
We love it. Man, it's such a shame we have to start wrapping up. I'm just thinking, what is the one more question that we can ask? We have so many things we want to speak to you about. I'm thinking, because of course we're doing the short film fund at the moment, which is a short film, and you're working a lot on features and more bigger projects. What would you say is a different, perhaps, piece of advice of speaking to a casting director or an actor or an agent in difference when you're making a short film and when you are making a feature film?
It's not that much of a difference nowadays. What I've seen, because I've done 2 short films recently, to help out one of the NFTS school, the graduates, so they understand the industry, and then a friend of mine. So I now I feel like it's very close to now aligning, which is a bit scary because short films are so difficult because their expectations are up here, and I'm like, hold your horses. Reality check here.
Reason that Spoon does not have availability and Viola Davis also not next week.
But it's just some of the names that they throw out there, and I think it's because maybe they're just starting out, but it's just like, try to just get the best actor rather than a name, and I get why people want a name for a short, but it's like, it's a short. It's your work as a director. You want to represent your work as a director, not having it's not about the best actor in your film, but your work as a director. When you go off to features, you can go bigger, but first start with the best actor and understanding how the industry works. And that's been a little bit of not an obstacle for me, but me needing to communicate that in a nice way. I never say no when they say, can we have a name? I understand where they're coming from, but there's also only a certain level that they can get with whatever they have. I'm like, you cannot expect this. It's not gonna happen. I won't say it like that, but I'm like, let's just aim a little bit lower. I've been doing this for 18 years now. So you gotta trust me. You're just literally starting out. Just trust my expertise. I'm always happy to go out to something bigger, but they still need to be right for the part. But generally, you just need the best actor first. So short films are actually, for me, more difficult to cast than feature films because of the expectations nowadays that they have, which makes it difficult for actors to even get seen. The actors that aren't a profile, because it's not even difficult for them to get in a freaking short. Sorry, my expression there. But it's like, just make it the best product possible with the best actor. Happy to explore namey options, but then there's also a stop. Like, if we get no's, not available, we have to just work with what's there. And there's so much there. There's so many talented actors, and just getting a feel of how the whole industry works. Sorry, I had a little rant there. That was
No, but it makes me think, actually, as you said, like a short is also, it's almost like a showcase of a director's work. Like, this is me. This is almost like it's kind of my pilot. It's my teaser, and I'm going to develop it into something much bigger. But this is my business card. But it's kind of the same for an actor, because you can also bring an actor who's not a name onto your short, but that actor can explode like later on. And it's almost also like a business card for them. So if both the director and the actor acknowledge the major opportunity that they have here to actually grow together, and for the actor to then become huge after making a short and go to their next project, and same for the director, then you're looking at it almost from a whole different mindset. So it's kind of like, let's find the best upcoming talent that this short can help do this to. And the same with the director, the same way the actor should think about the director as well. Let's find the best director, like coming out of NFTS or whatever, that I know today is making their first short film that will then make their debut feature that will then be at the top film festivals. And together, it's like, and then they could even work together on features that are making it super big, and they started their journey, like me and Liza started with a short. And we're here today.
It's the rock, paper, scissors that won the BAFTA. That I cast rock, paper, scissors. It won the BAFTA. It didn't have any names in it. And so I'm like, you can make it work. Yes, the actor, the lead actor, I think he was quite known in the Ukraine, but nobody else knew him, and the rest of the cast was completely unknown. Nobody knew it. And they went on to win a BAFTA. And I'm like, even looking at Obsession, there's no names in there. It doesn't matter. It's the audience has changed. They just want to see the story. And seeing the same names over and over again can also be annoying. And we need to fill up the seats of new up and coming actors because the older actors won't always be around. Nobody lives forever. At some point people die, unfortunately. But it's like we also need to then fill up the next generation. And if you're not taking that risk, we don't have anything.
It can also be like a symbolic death. It doesn't have to be necessarily a physical death. Yeah. It's a revival, a renewal of energy as well. And I think that's what everyone that is listening to this podcast as well can just take your words from the beginning. Be gutsy. Like, just go for it and have a good eye and have that vision. And then as a director, you spot the next talent. As an actor, you spot the next talent for the director.
And let's hope that the film financiers are also listening, because I think there is still a big thing about you need to have this talent in order to fill up the seats. I think you just shown some wonderful examples where that isn't the case. And I think, there are more and more films coming out with non-huge names that are doing fantastic work. So, that's our vision for the future. Thank you so much, Olissa. It's incredible to have you on here. Thank you, Giles and Dom, for having us, for allowing us to have these conversations.
Thank you for your energy. It's been incredible, and I hope that everyone listening on really gets inspired, because I know we did. And there's just so many codes in here and words and nuggets of wisdom. So just like grab them, hold on to them, and go for it. Just do it. Just do it.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Olissa. That was great.
Thank you. Well, wasn't Olissa just amazing?
Yes.
She was incredible. There's so much to take away from that. And it was just so interesting to hear from her, like, how important your network actually is.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps coming, this network thing, guys, and making sure you keep active in the community and meeting new people. We always see that, and that is actually why we even started the Female Film Club, so that your network can grow through the club. The more our network grows, we guarantee the more our members' network grows as well.
You really can't make a film by yourself, isn't it? It's such a community thing. Right, now let's get on to our next guest, Miriam Spritzer. She will explain to us the difference between a film that is good and a film that the press wants to cover, because apparently they're not the same thing. Also, how to get attention of the right media for your film, not just any media, and what the best next steps are when you're trying to get coverage. Let's get into it. Hi, so welcome, Miriam. So excited to have you here with us.
I'm so excited to be here. It's always a pleasure chatting with you guys off cameras, and I'm excited to have this conversation. I think we can help so many filmmakers.
It's so exciting to speak to you, because Nicole and I were chatting about what is something that a lot of filmmakers really need, and we keep hearing the conversation from filmmakers that want to get noticed by the press, that want to have their story out there, and they don't know how, and it feels sometimes like a really mystery behind the doors, and you're kind of there on the other side of it, having all these insights that nobody knows. So we're super excited to hear kind of from you if you get a film press release, or if someone sends you a cold email, what kind of thoughts come up? What would you be looking for? What is going on? What's the selection process?
That's a very interesting and difficult question to answer, because I think it's every journalist is going to have a different strategy to go about it. But my first recommendation, and usually when people who don't really have the budget for PR, like the people who are really starting out and they're like, what do I have to do to be noticed? And the first thing I call their attention, because we get so many emails every day. So if you are going to do like a cold call, as we say, or if you're going to send that email, make sure that it's not just like, so generic that it will get deleted among with 100 other press release that I will receive that I have no interest in. Just because I have to be productive. My day, as anyone else's day, is 24 hours. So one of the things that happens is if you have 1,000 emails that come every day with various press releases, and it really is like, I can show you guys as we're having this conversation. At some point, I can get my phone and show you how many emails came in this 20 minutes we're going to be talking. And it really is nonstop. And you're going to get things from things you're very interested in. And in addition to things that you were not, or that you can't cover because it's not on your beat, or it's not something that your audience is interested. So when you have limited resources, and one of the resources is actually time, is make sure you're focusing on the journalists that have something to do with what you're trying to sell. So if you are, trying to think, I remember one of my mentors taught me this about journalism when I would be helping people as well, how to position themselves, or even when you're trying to pitch a story. The question was always like, what is the story? Like, who is this important for? And why should I care? That was basically those questions that they would ask. And to be quite fair, I think that the stories and the products that I did end up covering have been either because I already had a relationship with the person who is trying to pitch me a story. So I knew them, I kind of knew what they were going through, or it was something that had to do with me or my audience. So those are the ones that I really like, okay, you know what? This one I have to fight with my editor a little bit, but it's worth it because this story is actually like, it will amount to something. And sometimes I've been 100% right about it. And sometimes it's just a story that died on, a website somewhere. And that does happen. So I think first and foremost, it's like, understand what is your product or who you are as a filmmaker, and try to pitch to journalists or outlets that do have the room for that. Like, I work for different types of outlets. So one of them is Harper's Bazaar. Harper's Bazaar is a female consumer magazine that is focused mainly in, fashion and a little bit of the luxury market, a little bit of female stories and so on. So if you're pitching me a story and, it's about, I don't know, like something that has nothing to do with that audience, like let's say it's a male director talking about, gangs fighting in Los Angeles, that is something my audience from Harper's Bazaar will not be interested in. So I can pitch it. I can be your friend and try to pitch it to my editor. And my editor's response is going to be, no, thanks, we'll pass. Because that's the thing. I'm tied also to that audience of the outlet that I'm in. However, let's say one of the many outlets that I work with, one is a independent film focused website. Well, that one I can work with. So that's what I would be like. That would be my first tip for filmmakers. Like, try to find the outlets that can actually promote your story. Also, because you're more likely to get press once you already have a little press.
I love that. And that is such valuable advice as well for what you should do. But I'm quite curious to hear, like, what are things that people do that you're like, oh my God, these are big no-nos in addition to everything you've just said?
I think once you get to know that you insist on the story, I think press, filmmaking, all these areas that we're working in, it is a relationship-based industry. Like, if I can help you on this story, it doesn't mean that I can't help you on the next one. I would guess that the biggest no is insisting that a person watches a long film and gives their opinion on it, especially during a busy season. If a suggestion is try to do a trailer. I think everybody has 2 minutes that they can watch a trailer. And if your film is good and your trailer is interesting, then you know what? Then I'm willing to sit down for the 2 hours. But when you have someone that is already trying to be polite and giving you the excuses of like, you know what, I'm overwhelmed with work right now, or I'm not equipped to give you my opinion on that, or this is not a type of project that I usually work with. Thanks. We'll talk when I have something that is related to, or just ask like what type of projects you do have interest in. I might have something. So I think that there is that side of it where I know that when we have our film and it's our baby and we're so proud of it and we want to share it to the world, it seems like everyone should be interested. But it's, we each have our niches, we each have our audience. So in the same way, I would not push my article for absolutely everyone to read because it's not for everyone. And I say this with love. My father absolutely loves me. He does not follow my content because most of my content is female oriented. So unless it's like an actress that he really loves to read about, and most of the times it's not because he doesn't know half of the people I interview. And that's fine because that's not his audience. I'm not targeting him as my audience as well. He's not in my demographics. So I think that there is that element of like, okay, like this is really a project that makes sense for this outlet. Tell me why. Why do you think this project makes sense? And then it is, but I do think that the big no-nos is sometimes not understanding the polite no.
We know that.
Yeah. We all know that. We've all been there, but I also, on the other hand, I do think like go and sell it and promote and go after it, but don't go to the point that you are a stalker and you can't leave like, you don't want to make the person so uncomfortable to say no that they'll try to avoid you because who knows, next year you might have a project that would be perfect for that outlet.
It's such a fine line, isn't it? And I love that you said, like, first of all, the other person is also a person. It's not just a tool to help you get to where you are. So research the person. What are they interested in? What are they covering? What are they doing? Rather than, oh, it's a journalist. They write about film or they write about this topic, or let me just pitch at it, because it is such a relationship environment. Like we met at the Cannes Film Festival just, what is it? Not even a month ago for the first time when you joined our FFC party there with Giles, a shout out. And here we are, like things develop so quickly if you take the time into really investigating the relationship.
Yeah. And there are points of connection, right? Like we were aligned with the things that we could do together. And I think that that's also what helps. We were talking about big no-nos. I think the other thing is, okay, like you pitch the story, you pitch your product, and then you're not giving interesting stories to collaborate with. Like you give an interview and you're not giving a good insight or a good answer. I think if you are putting yourself out there to speak to the press or speak to an audience, whether you're participating at a panel, whatever it is, you have to be available to give an answer. And you have to give an interesting anecdote and you have to give an interesting story because the story needs to be engaging also to the audience, because it's no use for you to get a story published just for the sake of publishing it and not really being seen by an audience. Because at the end of the day, you want to sell your product. You want people to have you want to get more eyeballs on your film or whatever the project is.
Reframe that, seeing your film really as a product that you want to sell, rather than being like, oh, this is my film, this is my baby, I want to get it out there. Really thinking about it strategically. I have something. How do I sell it? What's the marketing behind it? What's the strategy behind
it? Who is it for?
Yes.
Yeah, like who will identify most with the story? Who is going to fall for the story? Who is going to go on this emotional journey that I'm trying to put there? And I also think there is a risk to it because the more people are going to see, you're going to have more criticism over it. And I think that's the hardest part for the filmmaker is taking that criticism and like you are going to have to decide what you do with that feedback. And sometimes it's going to be great and you're going to get amazing compliments. And you know what? Sometimes it's not going to be great. And I don't know how to manage that. I think it's something very tricky. I have a hard time when I get bad feedback from my stories or my TV appearances and whatnot, because once you put yourself publicly, you are going to have a public reaction to it. So I think it's like once you are going for the press, you have to brace yourself for the impact that being public is going to take. So that's another thing to take into consideration, because the critic, the journalist, the audience member, they have the right to their opinions. And that's the thing. Once you put your baby out in the world, whatever happens, it's that reaction.
So then the question also is, are you ready to actually put your story out there?
And get the beating, right? Because you might get. So
Mhm.
it's or if you are, how are you going to manage it? Because I think a lot of people don't think, they think about the compliment sometimes, or they overthink how bad it's going to go, because you also have to think, once it goes out and it's a hit and everybody's obsessed with it, what happens? How are you going to manage? And what's your next project then? How are you going to manage to promote the next thing if this first one was such a massive hit, you know? So there's the two sides, the extreme success and also the failure or the extreme criticism.
I love this. And it's really speaking to those that already managed to get their projects out there, managed to get their stories seen by you. But let's go back a bit, because I know we have a lot of filmmakers that will be listening here and they're like, actually, I don't have any money for any kind of like PR support for anything. I don't even have that many connections that are like high enough up there. I really believe in my project. I've worked so hard. I know it's so timely. I know that a lot of people will want to watch it. And I have a really interesting story to tell, and it's maybe even aligned with your audience. What do you recommend for them to do? What is the best, maybe first move? Because a lot of times it's really hard to take that first step.
Absolutely. I think that's very hard. And it's also very hard to get someone to actually open your email and read whatever it is that you're offering. I think we're very lucky today because we have social media. And I
Mhm.
think social media gives you a lot of information. I have had many filmmakers that reached out to me on social media, and we establish a relationship where they'll be like, "Hey, I'm a filmmaker. You know, is it okay if I share with you some of my projects and this and that?" But they start engaging with knowing the type of content that I'm publishing already. So they go after, they know which outlets I'm working with. They kind of see what my audience is, and they're open to have that very broad conversation of like, you know what, this is great. I cannot publish this, but I can actually introduce you to this person that could do it. So every journalist has their network of people. Also, it's, you know, understand the size of your product, of your project, and pitch to the right thing. Like if it's a super small independent film that you don't have the budget, you might not be able to get a spread at Vogue,
Mm.
because Vogue is looking for something much bigger, much more mainstream. But you know what? There are so many independent websites that want to promote these independent filmmakers, that want to promote the new filmmakers. So try to find those things. Yes, I know that being on Vogue is a little bit sexier and it's good for your ego, but it might not necessarily be the best way to get people to see your project. And that's the other thing. It's like if something comes up in an independent blog or like a very interesting Twitter, not Twitter now, it's called X, but a thread that you're like, wow, this is a fascinating story. It might actually get picked up by a bigger outlet because it's something that you start the buzz. So you have to start the buzz somewhere, and you're more likely to start the buzz on smaller independent websites than trying to pitch for the Hollywood Reporter, Collider,
Mm.
Variety, Vogue, Bazaar, all these major outlets that they have to answer to a much bigger bureaucratic lineup, like, you know, line of operation. And the independent blogger or the website, they're the ones that are deciding what they're going to write about. So you only have to convince one person.
Amazing.
It's so good. I feel like I've got so many questions because it's like a bit of a stepping stone, isn't it? Like even if you start small, with like more the independent blogs and the things that you say, would you use them then to get like into the next level of publication and use them into the next level of publication? And how would you position it if you already have gotten like your first local newspaper publish something about you? Where do you go from there?
I think one of the things is, you know, you're gathering clippings. So it's very much like, you know, how do you promote? I mean, I had a similar case when I was applying for my green card. I had to put together a legal case that it made sense why I should be consider, you know, someone of my credibility, etc. And part of it was putting together stories on the newspaper or whatever news outlets about me. And I think that that's kind of what it is. this was already promoted in the regional newspaper or in the national newspaper, depending where this person comes from. This could be interesting. Like, why would a major newspaper be interested in this story? And that might make me curious to read. So I think that there is that element of like, no, look, we were already, there is two sides of it also, because some people will be like, no, then I don't want to publish it because it's no longer exclusive. So there is that side as well. But it does create a little bit of a buzz. Let's say it's a Brazilian female director who is doing a story about, being a foreigner living in France, right? Like, that's so aligned to what my reality as being Brazilian, living in New York and whatnot is, that it will be irresistible for me to kind of look into that project. Or at least like, I can pitch this because there is a story here that I can kind of bring up, whether it is of her challenges as being a Brazilian outside of the country, whether it is a challenge of a female director. There are many things that I can bring that could align to my audience. However, is that something that's going to be featured on the cover? Unless she is, Adriana Lima or someone very big, it's not going to be a cover story. But it could be so interesting to be there. And because there is an appeal, it could be actually promoted on the outlet's social media and whatnot. So there is that element of it that sometimes you do find this is actually a fascinating story, even though this person is not a celebrity. This is an independent project. There is something behind it, that could be interesting. I had a case recently that, maybe it was a year or two ago, that there was a competition for a group of, amateurs to direct a video clip for Ed Sheeran. And the group of amateurs that were selected were Brazilian. And they were girls who were
get
just out
in
of
there, I
college.
guess.
Well, this story was pitched by me by someone in the production who I've known for many years. But she pitched me this story. I was like, wait a minute. Like, she's not pitching me the story. She's just telling me as a friend, like, we're doing this. It's a big deal. What do you think I should do? It's like, no, not what do you think I should do? I'm doing an interview with you guys and we're putting together a story because this is kind of a big deal. Are they celebrities? No. Is this video clip maybe the most famous one from Ed Sheeran? Probably not. But this is a story that's so interesting to our audiences. And it also inspire, new filmmakers to have that in the sense of, wow, like this group of Brazilian girls who are living in LA won this fan competition to direct a video clip by Ed Sheeran. Like, that's massive, and that's a story. So there is a why this would be published type of angle,
Do you have a tip for like finding the right angle? Because it's all about how you present it. And then also you spoke about the exclusive, of course. But if you have a film, there's many different exclusive you could kind of find different angles within the same story, finding a different angle. Do you have any tips or any experience or examples that you can share of finding the right angle for a story that might not be too interesting, but with the right angle, you'd be like, yes, now I can write about it?
It's like it's almost as if you say a bad date story to your friends. That's the example that I can give. You can make it very funny. You can make it very dramatic. You can make it very scary. And it can be the exact same story. I think it's finding what speaks to a certain audience. So the first goal is, are you pitching to a serious newspaper? Are you pitching to a female magazine? Are you pitching to an independent film website? There are different angles to it. Like, I'm always curious if I'm looking on the independent film, it's like, how did you get your funding? How did you convince a producer to go behind this and actually get people to put money on this project? Like, that is an amazing story for a business insider point of view. Like, how did that impact the local community if you're filming something in a small town in the middle of nowhere? Like, how did you guys get the extras? Did you get the extras, by just walking in the street? Did you bring people in? So those things, like Monty Python has the story that for the Holy Grail, they actually put a sign and invited people from the roads to tag it, like to join into the set. That sounds like a crazy thing, but what a story. Right. And on the other side, you can just say, like, look, we were so desperate for extras that we were picking up people on the street. It could be as uninteresting as that. Or, you know what? Like, can you imagine that this group actually went with signs in the middle of the road in England, trying to get anyone to take part of this? And like the most random people showed up. So everyone has a story, and everything can be a story. It depends how you say. And I think as filmmakers, as artists, we know the magic of storytelling. So it's really finding like what is the best way to position what happened or what this is to that specific audience. Or like what is the curiosity of like what would these people be wondering about a project? I think the worst thing somebody can do is when you ask something, it's like, oh, that's not interesting. No, I'm asking, I'm interested. Tell me about it. It could be magic. Like it could be something so fascinating. And the moment you tell me it's not interested, then it's not interesting, that, well, you just kill my buzz on finding out something that I wouldn't have otherwise.
So true, so true. Oh, so everybody listening, start practicing your pitches to your friends, to your audience, and see how everybody reacts.
And ask feedback as well. Like, is
Mhm.
this interesting? Like when you're telling the story to your friends, like I'm thinking about pitching, like ask around, because I think it's feedback is so important. And a lot of the times, the journalist can say, "Oh, this is a weak pitch." Like, no, I can say that to my friends. I cannot say to a filmmaker I have no relationship with that does a weak pitch. So that's also like count on your community, count on the people around you to ask like, how can I make this interesting? Like what part, like what would you have curiosity to know about this? Or what did you find most fascinating about what I'm trying to sell? Like what spoke to you? And you might actually have great ideas that can work for the press.
I
So
love.
yeah.
Yeah, speaking about community as well, I'm not sure how we're doing with timing. We're good. Yeah, so you're also a judge now in the Female Film Club Global Short Film Fund, which is like
Hi.
super, super exciting for us. And thank you so much for doing it.
Well,
So
thank
what
you
does
for having me. I'm
Yeah,
honored.
we're so excited to have you. So from where you sit as the press, with all your experiences and working with so many different outlets, why is this something that you think would create real opportunity for visibility? Not just like, oh, this is a nice prize, but how can you use this for your benefit? And I think you've dove into that a little bit before, like looking at the bigger vision as well, not just at the quick fix, like this is press for today. And even if you start with smaller outlets, how can you then grow it? And especially as this opportunity.
I think so. It's very tricky for shorts. I particularly think it's tricky for shorts because there isn't that much of a mainstream market for shorts. We know shorts are a very big deal in the industry because
Mm.
they kind of help you sell the next project, or you from a short you can actually do a feature.
Yeah.
So you have to know what your product is. First of all, I think that participating in a film festival, in a competition, to be awarded something, it is much more than just the nice prize because it puts you into a lot of conversations. It's also easier for me to be at a film festival, let's say as a filmmaker, if I have an award, to be at a film festival and be like, well, so we participated at this and we actually won this award, or we won the honorable mention or something like that. And that helps you. It gives you, first of all, confidence. I think it's a title that you have, and you're like, you know what, this project might actually be good. But it also gives confidence to the person that is talking to you. It's like, well, if this short got the award, I might actually have those 10 minutes to watch it because there is a group of people that watch a lot of things and they selected this out of all. So you already have like there is a selection process, right? I think we all go to film festivals. One of my favorite things, I don't know if you guys can relate, but I love finding that hidden gem that nobody was talking about. And then it was just so great that
Yeah.
I'll remember for my whole life. Even though that movie may or may not become massive or have any awards, the fact that you find that out, it's, Sorry Baby last year in Cannes was that. A lot of us saw it and it became this film that really did well throughout the award season. But that was a hidden gem. It wasn't until much later in the year that they started getting press and started being talked about. And Eva Victor becomes this star that today we know her to be. So there is that element that I think once you do have a recognition, once you do have a prize, yes, the money is great. Yes, the title is amazing, but it gives you that check mark, that certification that well, your film was seen by a few people, and it's much easier for you to convince others to watch if you have the blessing of, a group of people that have already seen it and liked it.
And also easier to go to the press then and say, look, I've won this and this is what I'm working on,
Yeah.
even if you're like developing it into a feature, and then just refer back to the prize that you had.
Exactly.
We
And
had
look,
some people did that last year when we did the shortlist.
Yeah.
Some smart people who didn't in the end win the prize, but they were on the shortlist and they went with that with the press and
yeah.
really leveraged that. I loved it. Yeah.
No, for sure. I go to a lot of film festivals, and a lot of the times I do meet the people that are, involved in the shorts market. And I cannot tell you how excited I am every time that I see on the short list for the Oscars the titles of the shorts that I know, because it's such a big deal. And one of them that I, to this day, have become a very good friend is a Brazilian filmmaker that did a short that was shortlisted called Amarelo. I forget the name in um, in English, but it was such a beautiful short. And throughout the award season, I'm cheering for her. Like, we are friendly now. I'm happy to help her promote anything that she's involved, because we also built a relationship. And I think that's also the part of, she didn't reach out to me as a Brazilian journalist. We were connected by a common friend because both of us were at the film festival. But it did turn out that she had a project to promote. I am a journalist out looking for stories. And it was great. And I do think that, yeah, like, look, you're a filmmaker. It is participating at this type of competitions. It is participating at film festivals where you're going to meet and build your community, whether those are other filmmakers or people that are in the ecosystem of the industry, like I am. I'm not a filmmaker, but I'm certainly in that ecosystem. And I'm there also. I want to help find these amazing projects and help promote them. So the journalists are looking for the story as much as you're looking to promote your story.
Yeah, sometimes we forget that, isn't it? You think you're just chasing someone, and then you forget that there's people like you who do so much. Like, because you're not only a journalist, you're also a board member of the Golden Globes Foundation, and you're really spending a lot of your time ensuring women in the industry and in general, just filmmakers really deserve to be visible and have their story told. Do you want to say just one last thing that you can think of that could help someone that finds it really scary to be visible? That maybe, yeah, it's scary to show up for these film festivals, scary to apply for a film fund or to talk to someone, to write that first email. How do you tackle that?
It's funny. We have a phrase in Portuguese that the translation to it is the no you already have. And that's something that I hold dear. And this is not to say that I don't take rejection very badly. It's still something that I'm working. We're all humans in development and trying to be better. But the no you already have, when you don't apply for a film fund, you already did not win the film fund. Like, when you don't apply to a film festival, you're not at the film festival. The worst thing that can happen is, you get a confirmation of your no, but you might get yes. And I think it's, just go for it. And then you find out what you have to manage. I think sometimes we create these monsters in our heads that are completely worthless, because these things that we create might not even come to happen. And there are better film festivals than others. Like, there are film festivals you meet great people. There are film festivals that you meet just random people you don't really have follow up with. But go and talk to the person next to you. You never know who is sitting next to you at a film festival. You never know who can introduce you to the right people that you need to meet. And there is no such bad thing as having too many connections. So that's my firm belief. It's like, meet as many people as you can, shake as many hands as you can, try to actually connect with people, not just with the interest of selling a project or, being transactional, because the more people you know in the industry, the better people you know in the industry, more fun you're going to have working in it, more comfortable you're going to be working in it. Like, I much rather sit in a room where I know a lot of people and like a lot of people than when I go by myself. Like, the first few years for me were the worst because I didn't know a lot of people. And now it's like, oh, wait a minute. I know a lot of people. I can be comfortable. I can make a joke. I can actually, the time passes a little bit quicker and it's easier. it's much easier for you to go and be introduced to someone if you know someone, or to have that wing person at the event that like, okay, I'm going to go talk to that person. They're a little bit mean. I have my buddy to go back to. So I think my big advice is go for it. Pitch. You will get a lot of no's, but the no you already have. So the risk is actually someone saying yes, and then you're going to have to do the work to tell your story and, deal with the press once it comes out. But that's the thing. It's like a lot of people are trying to help you. A lot of people want to find your project and help you promote that.
Love
I'm
that.
inspired.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you for your time, your expertise.
Your energy.
Pleasure.
Yeah, it's such a pleasure.
Thank you guys for having me. It's so important to the work you guys are doing is so important, and I'm always in awe whenever I talk with you guys, because I think what you're doing is really remarkable.
Thank you so much. And we love collaborating with other women like you, and just everything connects at the end, as you said. And if we can help each other, and also bringing that information out, because so much is like gate kept, and that's really what we aim to do all the time, is just provide the tools and get that information out.
Yeah, it's open a little bit of the door so they can actually push it. And I think
Exactly.
we had to learn that for ourselves. And I think we can do a little bit to help the next people to do it. I'm very happy. I had people that helped me, so I'm trying to pay
Give
forward.
back.
Yeah.
I think before you go, can you just share your Instagram handle? Because I think there will be a lot of people who are like, okay, I'm going to research her. I'm going to have a look. You might get some pictures about the Brazilian football. I think they're playing very soon again. You're watching it. Where can people find you?
So on Instagram and any other social media, I have the same handle, which is MISPRITZER. So Miss Spritzer. I figured it was easier than putting Miriam Spritzer. It was too long. And Brazilians always get my name wrong. So it's easy to find. I'm always happy to talk to everyone, and I try as much as I can. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wow, we just learned so much from her. Oh my God, I wish we had this years ago.
I know.
It's crazy. It's also interesting to hear how they're always looking for stories, that you shouldn't be afraid to actually reach out. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm not interesting enough. Like, who's going to want to read about this? No, they need more material all the time. But it's also like so important to respect and know. Like, that's something that we all know inside our unconscious mind. But sometimes when we want something, we just like want to push the door down. So there's a clear limit. And I think the most interesting thing was that don't forget that even if your story doesn't get, showcased now, it might happen like a few years down the line. So don't burn the bridge.
And how important it is to get that angle right, isn't it? It's not really about the story. It's about finding that perfect angle for the right person to cover it.
Exactly.
Okay, right. Then about our Global FFC Short Film Fund, which is open right now until the 5th of September. So this is what you'll get. It's actually our biggest offering ever. It's a short film fund package worth 33,000 euros.
Just drum roll, 33,000 euros.
We haven't done it like this before. We're really, really excited to give it. So the winner will get 10,000 euros in cash to fund the short film. On top of that, from the amazing post-production house This Authority, they're getting 15,000 euros for the post of your film. So you know how everybody's just focusing on the actual shooting of the film, and then post come and they're like, oh, but now I don't have the funds to finish the film. This Authority is bridging that gap and making sure that all of these films also get made. And they can do it from a distance because it's a global short film fund. You can apply from wherever you are in the world. They even nailed down like color grading from a distance. It's so cool. On top of that, you get 8,000 euros from Moses, which is a virtual post-production support. And this includes things like one-to-one consulting support, but also studio rental for production. It's such
amazing
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because this fund wouldn't be made possible without Imogen, they're giving everyone who applies. So whether you win or not, doesn't matter. Everyone who applies gets a free Imogen account
which is worth £800 to professionally schedule your film, completed in 30 minutes. It's helping you to create storyboards, character avatars, call sheets, like everything that you need to know.
Taking so much time.
I know. I worked as an ADM producer before, and I wish I had this before.
Exactly. It's amazing. So there are a few questions that we are sure you're asking yourself. You're like, wait, this sounds amazing. It's mega. But is it only for women?
We are the Female Film Club, so of course we are championing female-made stories, but we love the collaboration, and we've always collaborated with people from all genders. So it's not only for women. No, if you have a female or non-binary HOD, producer, writer, director on your film, you can apply for the fund. Now also, we get so many questions like, okay, but what genres are allowed for this?
Exactly. And because we want to support filmmakers as much as we can, we decided to leave it open. We are open to accepting documentaries, animations, musical, just not music videos, by the way, or trailers, but any kind of genre is accepted. Horror, whatever it is that you're working on at the moment that would fit all the other criteria, we'll have you.
Yeah, and then people are always asking also, so how is it being judged, right? Well, luckily, Nicole and I are not doing any of the judging. We have an amazing... It's so hard. We always have an independent panel of judges from all over the world, from different walks of the industry, and they will decide. The judges will be announced this summer. They will decide after the Film Fund closes, of course, which is on the 5th of September. And then the winner will be announced at their BFI London Film Festival event in October.
Amazing. So, we know that also some of you are like, well, actually, I am developing my debut feature and I'm using this short as a proof of concept. That's fine. That's fine. We've accepted short films that are used as a proof of concept. We actually support that because it's wonderful to see the journey and to be like, the winning film was a proof of concept film and look at the feature now. So 100%.
Although the film does need to, as we said, it's not a trailer, so it does need to be a story on its own and needs to have, be a really clear short film by itself. It can't just be a trailer or just a showcase of the feature film. Now, if you want to apply, you can just go to femalefilmclub.com, click on the Film Fund, and there you have it.
Right, there we have it. Thank you so much for listening to our FFC Takeover. It's been so much fun.
It's been so nice. Thank you so much to everyone. Of course, Giles, the Filmmakers Podcast gang. Now you can follow the FFC. The link will be in the show notes. Head to femalefilmclub.com. Click on the Film Fund if you want to apply to that. But of course, keep listening to the amazing episodes from the Filmmakers Podcast. They have over 500, and they've actually helped our community with so much knowledge and really demystifying an industry where it can feel sometimes very overwhelming. So what we love the most about it is that they really pull back the curtain and discuss the things that are actually helpful for filmmakers rather than just the fluff. Like, they're really practical, tangible, and they're just a great bunch of guys, of course.
And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it is your duty to send the elevator back down. So take care, and Giles and the gang will be back with you next Tuesday as well.
I love that they always say that. Right, so I've been Liza.
And I've been Nicole, and thanks so much for listening to this FFC Takeover of the Filmmakers Podcast. We really hope you enjoyed it.
Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.